Right guys, so we're going to take you through the front foot elevated split squat. What we're going to look for in this is by raising the front foot, that means that we can take the hip through a slightly bigger range of motion. We're going to look for certain things to make sure that we're getting the most out of the exercise. So we'll start off without any weight, and then we'll just add a small amount of weight on, and then you can progress it as you see fit. So we'll start off with the front foot facing towards you. What we want to see from here is we've got a vertical shin all the way through the exercise. You might find that you're leaning forward for the first couple of reps. What I like to do is set up so that when my back knee's on the floor, I've already got that vertical shin, and then I can just push straight up. Second thing that we're going to be looking for is maintaining an upright torso. As we're leaning forwards, we're just going to take the stretch off the back hip. So we'll talk about why that's a problem in a second. And we're just going to try and make sure in the front foot that that shin's staying vertical throughout. Okay, if I swap it around to the other side, we're going to focus on the back hip for a second. So go again, taking that position. And in this bottom position, what we want to try and do is get a little bit of a stretch in the front of the hip flexor. That way we can make sure that we're kind of like working on mobility as well as strengthening up the legs. So what we want to see ideally, if you can manage it, is being able to have the knee slightly behind the hip. However, the thing to avoid is trying to let the pelvis tilt forward. Good way to think about it is imagine you've got a belt line here. So if we just take the bottom of my jumper, for example, we want to try and keep that nice and level with the floor. What we want to try and avoid is it tilting forwards and just allowing that rib cage and the hip to come away from each other. So I'll show you a couple of, hopefully I'll try and make this a little bit obvious. We'll try and do a couple of good reps on there. Think about squeezing my bum, keeping that front knee directly over the heel, yeah, and trying to think about the knee being slightly behind the hip. Yep. If you struggle with that, just go back to a normal split squat and just see if you can keep the glute tight, you can keep the belt line level all the way through the exercise. When we're adding a little bit of weight, so we're going to be using 2 kettlebells, you can use dumbbells or anything else. Make sure again that we're not leaning the weight forward. Not a bad exercise, but just not what we're looking for on the front foot elevated split squat. We're just going to go straight down, straight back up again. Good indicator, to be honest, is whether the dumbbells or the kettlebells are going forwards. We want to try and keep them in line with the rest of the body. And that's the front foot elevated split squat.